Ooh, what are you? That's the Richmond Rat Boy. All right, our next stop on today's adventure is at the Levi and Catherine Coffin homestead. And between the 1820s and the 1840s, they were Quakers. They were settlers, Quaker settlers that came here, and they were abolitionists. So they disagreed with slavery, and their home was considered the Grand Central Station of the Underground Railroad. So we're going to tour their home, and there is a museum, and I wanted to show you this mural. I think that this mural is fantastic. It's just a block, maybe 2 blocks or so from the museum, but I'm going to flip the camera around so we can talk about this mural a little bit. All right, taking a look at this mural. It's a mural of the nighttime sky. You can see the comets and the moon and the stars in the sky, and you can see the runaway slaves. And the cool thing about this, there's Levi and Catherine Coffin. There is their homestead up there, but you can see that in this mural, he's like pulling up the side of the mural to give them refuge. So we're going to learn a little bit more about Levi and Catherine Coffin and what all they did for enslaved people during that unjust time in our country. Just to kind of give you a frame of reference, here's a mural that we're at, and the Levi Coffin house is just right there, and that white building right there is the cultural center. So it's just, if you're going to come here, you should definitely come down and check out this wonderful mural. Right when you walk into the interpretive center, you come in and you buy your tickets and you meet down before your tour starts. But here is Levi and Catherine. They were married in, what did I say they were married? 1824. They moved to Newport, Indiana, which is here. It's now Fountain City. And in 1844, he commits to buying and selling free labor goods not made with slave labor in his business. Travels to Philadelphia to buy free labor products. And then, he, in the company of the fellow abolitionist and Underground Railroad worker, William Beard, makes his first trip to Canada to visit the free settlements. And then this part I thought was really cool, because Salem, Indiana, which is really close to where Mark and I live, is the site of a free labor convention. Attendees resolved to help establish a free labor wholesale business in Cincinnati. So basically he was trying to help people reach Canada and Ohio. So it was pretty cool. Okay, so we're walking in to start the tour.
Room by room, and most of what you're going to be hearing are stories that Coffin left us in his autobiography. So if you're interested, I'm only going to be covering about this much of a book that originally was this thick. Okay, Levi himself was dedicated to the Underground Railroad over a 50-year period of his life, and we're grateful that he left us those stories because it helped to save this house from demolition. And as a result, we have one of the best, what we say in the museum room, provenance houses, best evidenced houses with the Underground Railroad that the public can tour today. Now the house has been restored back to as it would have been when the Coffins lived here starting in 1839. This was not their first house. For the first 13 years they called Indiana home, living here in Fountain City. They were down the street where the Pizza King now stands. So unfortunately that ham is no longer there. But most likely that's also where we know Levi's dry goods store was when he first opened it. So our assumption is they were probably living where the store was. Levi, unfortunately, in his stories, though he gives us a lot of information, he isn't quite clear in everything. So if you do have questions, don't be surprised if I have to say, I don't know. Because there's just some stories where he just didn't give us that last bit of information that would be helpful when we give tours. And we do try to study these stories and find more information, but we don't always have that. So we know of some of these stories happening in that previous home. We know some of these stories happened here. He didn't give us a lot of dates for those things, so just know that I will do my best to tell stories that we feel confident was here under this roof. Though the Coffins started living here in 1839, this house will gain a reputation as being called the Grand Central Station of the Underground Railroad. And most of what I'm going to focus on in my tour is really those Underground Railroad stories, but I do want to give a little more background of how the Coffins found themselves here. Levi and Catherine were born in North Carolina. They were born in Guilford County. And if you're familiar with North Carolina, it's right in the center of the state. It's where Winston-Salem, Greensboro, that area is. The Coffins, Levi, and we have pictures of Levi and Catherine here, were both raised as anti-slavery Quakers. Quakers as a religious group were some of the most vocal, earliest anti-slavery voices we had in the United States. Even before we were a country, we had Quakers that were questioning slavery and the part it had in our country. So the Coffins were being raised as anti-slavery Quakers in a state where slavery was very prominent. Now, Levi himself, as you saw in the film, as a young boy, had his first interaction with what slavery was, and he says in his book, at the age of 7, I determined I'm going to be an abolitionist, which is a pretty weighty decision for a 7-year-old to make. So when he was living and growing up in North Carolina and in his early adult years, he actually was involved in what probably was the earliest Underground Railroad effort to start in that state. Now, when he and Catherine married, a couple years later, they decided to migrate here to Wayne County, Indiana. They've actually followed Levi's parents here. That's why they came to this particular town. And Levi and Catherine thought they had left slavery behind because Indiana formed as a free state. However, where they ended up settling, right here on what today is US 27, became a very busy north-south route for travelers in our state. But it also became a prominent way for freedom seekers coming out of Kentucky escaping to come north. Okay, so Levi ends up settling in what becomes one of the most active Underground Railroad areas here in the Midwest, right along the Indiana-Ohio state line. Wasn't planned that way, but it happened that way. Now, in the 2 decades that he and Catherine called the town home, Levi has established himself as a businessman. He owned a dry goods store, an early version of a grocery store. As I mentioned, it was down the street, just a block away. And with the success of that helped him to be able to invest in several other businesses here in town. And by 1840, he is now the director of one of the banks in Richmond. So he has really built a reputation for himself. But along with that, he is making enough revenue or funds so that as he and Catherine get involved in the Underground Railroad, they really can support and help a lot of people. And sometimes that's hard to understand. These are individuals that are volunteering their resources, not just their home for some place to sleep, but they are providing a lot of other resources, which we'll talk about as well. But the Coffins were also very public on their stances against slavery. In fact, Levi and Catherine were both involved helping to establish one of the earliest anti-slavery societies here in the state of Indiana, if not the first. And so a lot of those early organized activities in the fight against slavery, even though we're a free state, we have people speaking out against it, trying to encourage our state government to get involved in such. That was happening and organizing right here in our little community. He mentions the goal, and of course Catherine, his wife, is really focused on the care of these individuals while they're here. But it is meeting what needs they can. So think back to the video. What kinds of things was Catherine doing for these individuals once they arrived? Feeding, yeah. Clothing. So we talked about the sewing circle.
Wounds.
So she's going to make sure whoever needs it will receive it. Yeah.
Wound care.
Right. Catherine is the mom. And we all know, for those of us that are moms, right? Who's the first person a kid comes to when you're, I had 4th graders always say the doctor. I said, no. Who's going to get you to the doctor, right? It's going to be mom. So Catherine's focus is on that care. For Levi, the focus is, when is it safe to move and where can I go with these individuals, okay? So the way the Underground Railroad works is someone who lives south of here or nearby, who has a freedom seeker that needs to come north, knows that the coffin house is safe and will bring them here. Then Levi has to figure out, where can I take them to next? Okay, and we'll talk a little more about that when we go out into the barn, some of those directions they would go. But while they're here, they're really Catherine's focus.
This was the main bedroom in the Levi. And look at that nice big closet. That's amazing. Closet on that side too. His and hers closet up here. Beautiful stairwell. We're getting ready to head down to the basement. The steps are very, 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 very steep, but we're going to go down to the basement next. This is the parlor room in here. Quite a nice house. They were kind of well-to-do, and all the, they're owned a mercantile. I'm not doing a full tour because I really, really want to encourage you to come to this museum and experience it yourself. So you're just getting just a little taste so you can come here and experience it yourself. So we are down in the basement now. It's much cooler down here, but she's gonna There are some things going on down in the basement. It scared me to death.
Sorry.
And again, like I said, I'm just giving you a brief tour because I really want to encourage you to come to this museum and experience it for yourself.
See here,
A well.
a well. And where are wells typically located?
Outside.
Outside. But Levi has an indoor well. How modern, right? Catherine never had to go outside to get water. Even on the coldest winter day, she's not going to have to worry about finding fresh water when there's ice. Come back on the coldest day in January, this well is working the same as it does on the hottest summer day. It never freezes. So in case you can't see,
Oh my gosh.
this well is tapped into one of these natural springs that Fountain City is known for. So if you'd like to know the inspiration of our name, in Levi's days, this is called a fountain well. If you like to poke your finger in, feel how nice cold.
Oh, wow,
refreshing
it's
it
so
is.
cold.
In fact, one of our early doctors thought, I need to.
It's like the fountain of
attract people."
youth.
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
How to rejuvenate yourselves and in our springs. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
Not like we had at Westgate either.
Yeah.
You know. So.
It doesn't smell bad like it does at Westgate.
Okay.
So that's the
again,
original well?
This is the original well.
Wow.
Let's again think about
Amazing.
what are the advantages. The advantage is you never have to go outside. The advantage is nobody sees you going outside. The advantage is nobody knows how much water you're using. So you can imagine 17 people have shown up. The amount of water you need in just one day has shot up exponentially.
It's incredible.
If I was to empty this well today, it may take a week or two, but it will naturally fill itself back up again. So Levi knew it was safe to build the basement because he knew that the water is just low enough in the ground that he could have the house on top of it, but it is far enough up in the ground that he can access it pretty easily. So the way that the well functions or is engineered, the bricks that are inside are original, and if I was to empty this, you would see it trickle in through the bricks and down the bricks, almost as if you were in a cave or you're driving through Kentucky and the hills and you can see the water coming down. It's the same thing. So it fills up the well, but it regulates itself and stays fresh because it's allowing it to exit back into the ground. So it's pretty phenomenal.
That's incredible.
Now my hunch is it's possible somebody had already tapped this well as an outdoor well and then he built the house on top.
Mhm.
Now he's a very smart man. So he may have figured it all out and done it himself. I don't know. But, and well, again, we may never know.
That's
However, at the time that the house was sold to the state, so that the house could become the historic site it is today, nobody knew about this. A previous owner had covered it with concrete. And this is a remnant of that concrete floor, so we can always remember where it sat. And it went all the way over. They had filled this in so they could lay the concrete, and it actually covered over the brick floor. So in the 60s when the house was being restored, this is really where the restoration happened.
wow.
Because
That's
concrete is
incredible.
not a building material the Coxons would have had access to in the 1830s. So it was removed. Thankfully, there was enough sand between the brick and the concrete that I'm sure they're like jackhammering or sledgehammering. They protected the brick. And then when they got in here, they saw all this fill dirt.
Was
Now,
there
at the
still
time-
water in the?
I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, but it's
No, they had filled it
It's
into.
fascinating,
They
isn't
had
it?
filled it into and then put the dirt. So at the time, the rumor was he had to have had a tunnel. This is covering up the tunnel. How else can you explain people constantly coming and going and nobody ever seeing it? It makes sense that he could shuffle people in and out of a tunnel and went back towards the creek. Well, let's think about it. If you know anything about water and geology and that kind of stuff, the way the ground functions, you don't build a tunnel when you've got a high water table. The same reason why we have some houses in here that have basements that have had flooding problems because the springs are too close. So that's not what was discovered, but what they found. So they started digging out the well because that had been filled in, and as soon as they started digging it out, the water came back.
Wow. We just got finished with a tour, and we're up here in the upstairs of the interpretive center, and they have more exhibits and stuff that you can walk around and kind of read about the journey of enslaved people. Some interactive. Cotton could hurt your hands. You know, you think people are, they're picking cotton. Oh, cotton's so soft, but that's pokey. And and then pull the rope to lift the cotton bale. Oh my gosh, I can't even do it. It says carrying this bale, a real cotton bale would weigh 10 times as much and require picking 1,200 pounds of cotton. And if they weren't, he can't even lift it. Can you imagine? And if you didn't meet your quotas, they were beaten, and horrible time in our history. But there's more things to do and see upstairs after you take the tour. Highly recommend. It is ran by the Indiana State Museum, and it was a wonderful tour. Highly recommend.
He is not hers, although her blood is coursing through his veins. He is not hers, for cruel hands may rule and tear apart. Only the hustle of the lives are
All right, we're stopping for lunch at Lumpy's Cafe. Apparently they are known for their tenderloins. Mark loves a tenderloin, so one of us will probably end up getting that. But we're gonna go in to Lumpy's and let you know what we order. Oh, and I meant to say that we are in Cambridge City, Indiana. At the menu, they're open, just open until 2 o'clock, so it's just a breakfast and lunch joint. So they're known for their tenderloins. Mark's probably going to get a small tenderloin, and I don't know what I'm going to get yet. I like breakfast. I don't know. So we'll look at the menu, and then I'll let you know what we end up getting after we get our food. All right, I know, I got corned beef hash. I'm weird. I love a good corned beef hash, and this looks excellent. And toast. Mark got, this is the small tenderloin. Now, Indiana, we're known for, we like our tenderloins, and they're probably normally...
There's a bun down here somewhere.
Yeah, there's the bun. That's the small tenderloin, so you can only imagine. So it got coleslaw, so it all looks very good. All right, Mark, take you a bite. Well, he's gonna get his dress, but let me take me a bite of I got mine extra crispy, my corned beef hash. Ooh, it's nice and warm. Yum. All right, corned beef hash down the hatch. I don't know. It's just something that kind of reminds me of my dad, because he used to always make corned beef hash when I was little, just out of the can, not like it was homemade or anything. But I don't know. It just kind of brings me back to my childhood, but it's very good. Mark's getting his tenderloin ready so he can give you his opinion on what he thinks, and he'll like it because he loves the tenderloin. Look what he's doing. He had to break it in half so he could make it fit in his mouth. All right, Mark.
I don't know if I'm gonna fit in my mouth.
You'll get it in there. All right. What do you think, sir? He likes everything on it. Good. Tomato, onions, lettuce, ketchup. Now I like mayonnaise on my tenderloin, not ketchup and mustard. I like just mayonnaise, and I wouldn't got the tomato on it. But is it good?
There's mayonnaise on it.
Good.
Very good.
Very good. Yay. All right, so we just left Lumpy's Cafe. You have to go there. It was amazing. The service was wonderful. It was clean. It was nice. So make sure that you stop in to Lumpy's Cafe. But remember, they're only open for breakfast and lunch. They close at 2 o'clock, so make sure you get there before then. So there's Lumpy's Cafe, and if you keep walking straight down the road, you'll run into the National Road Antique Mall. This US 40 is part of the National Road. That is something that when we do come back to Wayne County, we want to do a little bit more of a research before we talk about National Road. It's kind of fascinating, honestly. There's also the Model T Museum here in this county, so we want to kind of do a little bit more things like that when we have the chance to come back. But we're gonna pop in to the National Road Antique Mall and see what we can find in here today. Some primitive things in the window. Oh, look at the pinball machine. The Merry Widow. That's pretty cool. All right, National Road Antique Mall. There are their hours. Let's see what we can find in here today. Well, it smells wonderful in here. My goodness, look at this little hootie hoot owl. You just graduated, buddy. He's $2. He's Norcrest. He's a single shaker, but I'm going to be having an owl sale soon for fall, so I'm going to grab him. Norcrest, even though he's missing his buddy, for $2, that's a good price. Some great holiday items right here. This is one thing that I collect, are Harold Gale Santas. I can't see his price tag. I also like these mercury glass candles. They're gold mercury glass candles, so those are pretty cool. Walking upstairs, passing this old TV. I like this pebble art though. I would actually like to have an old console TV. $275. Sometimes you can find them at auctions. These are $35. I think they're each. Oh, that's a little scarecrow made out of a rake. All right, let's go on upstairs. Oh, there's lots more to see upstairs. Ooh, I see 50% off. Well, let's check out. I see a Joseph girl. Yeah, so she would be 50% off. So I'm probably gonna get her. See Carnival glass vase. All right. Look at these. Those are, they're half of $3.50. Are they clocks? All right, I'm very confused. Dog face as is. That looks like a cat. Okay, I'm kind of confused, Mark. Are these clocks? They have like a mechanism like the Kit Kat clocks.
Yeah.
And then
Look at that paper.
this hangs from it. Like it's color. But it's half of $3.50. I think it's just intriguing enough. I don't know why. Oh, he's missing half of his whiskers. But look at his eyes. See, here's the dog. Well, it says dog, but that is a cat.
That one's not near as.
But I don't see. Oh, yeah, that one has a Ann Johnson from they were $120 each. But now they're $3.50, 50% off. All right, so we just left the antique store. Now tomorrow we're gonna be doing some more antique shopping for my main channel, but now we have to head on over because the Wayne County Historical Museum closes in an hour and a half. I wanna make sure that I get in there because they have an exhibit on Janet records. So I wanna go over there and see their display on that. And then I don't know what we'll do next. We'll figure something out. We've got dinner reservations tonight here in Cambridge City where we're staying, and we'll take you along with us. All right, now we are at the Wayne County Historical Museum. Fun fact, most of the things that are in here, a lot of the things that are in here was one woman's collection. And now they've turned them all into a museum. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, they've got a Jeanette Studios.
Devil tree.
Oh, look, little spiky ball. We have those in our tree at our house.
Devil tree.
The devil tree, Mark says, because he has got to pick them up. Ah, love is love. All right, their hours Tuesday through Friday, 9:30 to 4, Saturday 12 to 4. No appointment needed. It's $8 a person to go in.
We only have about a half an hour.
And we have an hour or so to be in here, so we're gonna go on in. So again, there is a mummy. We are gonna see there's an actual Egyptian mummy. So we are gonna go and see, actually, we might be near that area too. I see some Egyptian artifacts, but again, this was a lot of, oh, there's leeches. I'm glad we don't have to do that anymore. A glass cane. Ooh, what are you? That's the Richmond Rat Boy. Mark.
What?
It's the Richmond, this is the Cabinet of Curiosities. I went right to the Cabinet of Curiosities. This is exactly,
Oh, wow.
This is exactly what that's all made from hair. That's all hair art. It's made from human hair. Decorated headdress, but I'm looking at the Richmond Rat Boy. It's like the Jersey Devil and the Fiji Mermaids. There's a sideshowed gaff. The Jersey Devil, this creature is not a real being, but instead a fabricated creation, depending on who you ask, probably. But the Richmond Rat Boy, a popular sideshow attraction during the 1910s and 30s, half boy, half rat, was discovered in the basement of an insane asylum. The contents of the body included plaster of Paris and clay over an armature decorated with paint, animal fur, and animal claws and teeth. That's the Richmond Rat Boy. Look at her. That's an antique mannequin head. Probably human teeth, I'm assuming, maybe human hair, probably for sure. That's interesting. More hair art there. That is made from a python purse there. And then this glass cane, anti-thumb sucking restraint. Wow. You're supposed to put it on your child's arm like that.
It keeps their arm straight.
Yeah, they can't they
bend it.
can't suck their thumb. And then we got the leeches there, but wow. But yeah, that's I like that. The Richmond Rat Boy. So here is the exhibit on the Star Piano Company. This is the Gennett Records display in there, but you know, the piano factory. So we visited there this morning, and you can see, well, I'm not sure that, there's what the showroom looked like. See, here's the factory itself. That was the smokestack that we saw, that we had seen earlier. You can see this was probably the building right here.
Yeah,
This is
was
what's
part of the
left,
building,
but
and
they
it was
just
one,
yeah.
2 floors.
And then inside here is Gennett Records. Now this was that horn that was in the wall, and so the musicians would be, you know, playing their music, and it would it's almost like the sound was being sucked into this horn, and then it was pressed into the record. The studio was primitive. The room wasn't soundproof, and just outside was a railroad spur with engines puffing and away noisily. Obscure recording studio in a small Indiana city saw a history-making parade of musicians. They made the name of the Hoosier Gennett's one of the greatest names in recorded music. The gold-letter Gennett label is one to collect, from the man himself, Ogie Carmichael. So you can see the whole process, learn the record-making process. So, how do we do this? Okay, step 1. What do we do? Oh, insert here. So step 1.
The process begins with music, or other sound being sent into a horn, like pictured here. The sound travels down the horn to a turntable, where a wax disc is spinning.
Wax.
As the sound waves reach the end of the horn, they move a stylus, or blade, that etches the wave patterns into the wax. The stylus works by being attached to a thin glass plate, or diaphragm, that moves as the sound waves into the horn. The waving diaphragm is what creates the correct movement of the stylus and the correct engravings on the wax. When the wax is full, the recording must stop, and the full wax master recording is inspected and prepared for the next step in the recording process. After the wax record is engraved and inspected, it is cleaned and polished. It is then placed into a bath of chemicals that will adhere a layer of copper or nickel onto the wax. Here you can see the layer of metal that has adhered to the wax. Once the copper is removed, it becomes a metal master record. In the early days, this would be used to press the record, but as demand grew, the master needed to be preserved. So the process was extended by placing the metal master back into the chemicals and adding a layer of metal. The resulting record, often called a mother, was then used to create stampers. Each stamper then pressed roughly 500 records. Once a stamper is created, it is prepared and placed in a mold. The mold is filled with shellac, a type of resin secreted by female lac bugs. That will be pressed
Female
to create
lac
the actual
bugs?
record. The shellac is often mixed with a variety of materials to create a durable record. The record is removed from the mold, trimmed, and packaged for distribution. In the case of Gennett Records, they were sold at retailers across North America, often on phonographs made by the Star Piano Company. By 1920, the company had produced roughly 3 million records a year. Each record cost 85 cents to $1.10.
You can see this is their iconic label there. That was the kind of the ghost sign that's still on the building itself. Now the lady that's upstairs, it's one of the curators here at the museum, she actually owns the Gennett family home, and she has an Airbnb. So we kind of talked a little bit. We might actually come back and maybe get more of a in-depth tour of the building that we were just in today. So Star, they made pianos, and then once the records became a popular source of entertainment for middle-class families, then they started to create phonographs and records. So you can see there is a Jeanette label record on the phonograph there. And you can see this was the recording studio. It's very much just like what we have right there, a recreation of it. Hitch's Happy Harmonists. That was actually in the studio. Now this is one of the star pianos. The last person who played this piano is dead. We wouldn't take any chances, don't touch. So this piano here is an Imperial Grand Piano made by the Star Manufacturing Company, and there were only 12 of them made. 12 pianos of this model were made, and 10 were sent to a girls' college, and then the college burnt down, and all of those pianos were destroyed. So there's only 2 left. This is one of them. So that's pretty fascinating, I think. Other parts of the museum here, we've got a general store.
That reminds me of the thing yesterday.
Yeah, it does kind of. So we got the cigar statue that was on the outside of a lot of general stores. Please ring and enter. Oh my goodness, that's really loud. We're entering your store. Hi, madam.
Ooh.
She's a little scary. This is really cool. This reminds me, you know, my building that we own, we have Mr. Webb, and he's our ghost. This is probably what Mr. Webb's, well, he was a little highfalutin, so his is probably a little bit more fancier than this, but he probably sold a lot of the same types of things in a dry goods store. Look at that there. There's a jar of pickles right there. And so we've got the guns and the fashionable emporium, all the hats, the apothecary shop. Hi, little puppy. It's really, really neat. There are a lot of cool displays in here. Like I said, oh, there's a big wheel bike. Not a unicorn. Big wheel bike. Could you imagine?
No.
I could not imagine riding that.
There's a little.
Yeah, you step up here.
Hike yourself up there.
I mean, wouldn't you think that just 2 wheels of the same size would have been invented before that one big
They
wheel?
didn't have a chain to do.
They didn't have a chain. Yeah. So yeah,
well,
those.
I mean, they probably had chain at the time, but these don't have chains.
These don't have chains.
So this required a lot less movement to move this huge wheel.
Yeah.
That's why they were so big.
Wow.
You didn't have gears.
No gears.
They probably had them, but it just wasn't a thing.
And they've got little interactive parts. We have an adventure trunk right here with this has different weights and scales and stuff, but things could be swallowed, so we don't want to, you know, that's good that there's a warning there, because you know how children are. Ooh, you have to watch your step. This is okay, so in the 60s, there was an explosion in Richmond, 1968. 41 people were killed and more than 150 people were injured. This is just kind of the aftermath. And I don't know, the primary explosion was due to natural gas leak. So this was some of the firefighting equipment, or the coats, during the Richmond explosion. And it happened in the 1960s, so there's a lot of people that still remember when that happened. Over here on this side, Pioneer Days. So we've got like a little pioneer cabin. Civil War Captain's Quarters. I'm telling you, it's curated so nicely. And they did give us a pamphlet where each display has numbers where you can read up a little bit more on it, but this is really nicely done, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
But my favorite booth is obviously the Star Piano Company.
It's not the Rat Boy?
No, well, I do like the Rat Boy. I like the Richmond Rat Boy. I do like him an awful lot. I mean, there's even an airplane in here. Airplane. And we've got an old fire truck. Mark, look, lawnmowers. He likes lawnmowers. I was drawn over here to this big dollhouse. Look at this. This is Caroline's dollhouse. Oh, I'm gonna have Mark get my dollhouse down. What am I gonna do with it? I don't know. I kind of wanted to set it up and play with it. There's a little boxer and her puppies. So it says, oh, Mark's over there blowing whistles. This says this dollhouse was built in 1880 for 10-year-old Caroline Jones of Richmond, Indiana. The house was made by professional carpenter and carver named Alan Weeks. He even carved his name on the balcony over the front door. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you can see that because of the glare, but he carved his name right there. 10-year-old, wow. The woods used in the structure are mainly black walnut and tulip with small pieces of armoth and tulip for the trimming. The house is very typical of the style of the houses in the 1880s with elaborate arrangement of furniture and accessories. Could you imagine? Man, I was telling them I want you to get my dollhouse down now, the attic, so I can play with it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I want to play. Oh, look. What? The country camper. I have those. Bricks. Ooh, I don't like you, Jester Clown. Ooh, the Misto Magic exhibition set. I've had that country camper. You've got marbles, roller skates, more vintage. Oh, we don't like those. No, we don't like those clowns. I'm on a mission to find this mummy.
Okay, first you have to look at this piano over here.
Oh.
And read the description.
Okay. Haynes Brothers Square Grand Piano. Well, look how beautiful that is. Now, we can't touch it because the last person that played it is dead. We don't want to end up with the same fate, but this piano was played by many Janet Records artists who were invited to dinner at the Janet home, including Hoagy Carmichael. Hoagy Carmichael played this piano. Hoagy Carmichael played this piano. Mark. Oh, he left. But that's the Janet Mansion right there. The lady that works in this museum, that's her home. I want to touch this, but I will die if I do, so I will refrain from touching the Hoagy Carmichael piano. Oh, I see cars over there too, Mark. Yeah. Wow. There is just everything you can imagine. Oh, mommy. Oh, mommy. Wow. Okay, this is amazing. Wow. This is a legit Egyptian mummy. There's actually, Wayne County actually has two of them. One of them is at Earlham College, and the other one is right here. Wow, that is incredible. Wow. This ancient Egyptian mummy has been examined using x-rays and CAT scans. Now, from these, experts concluded it was the body of a man who was between 30 and 35 years old. Sorry, the glare. The cause of death has not been determined. No injuries can be seen on the x-rays. From the length of the leg bones, we can estimate that he stood about 5 feet 6 inches tall. He died around 900 BC. I mean, that's pretty fantastic. So it says the X-shaped device found inside, this was found inside the body during one of the investigations, indicates that an incision had been made in the abdomen of the body to remove internal organs. These organs were not dried, wrapped, and returned to the body. Instead, this device was inserted into the empty abdominal cavity to support the abdominal wall while the body was wrapped. I mean, think about this. How many years ago was that? 1,000 years ago?
3,000 years ago.
3,000 years ago. I mean, the paint. Looking at the paint. Wow. That's incredible. I wonder what it looks like underneath his wrappings.
Well,
is he just bones?
Yes. It says he did not go through the embalming process.
Okay.
Burials at the time. So basically his tissue decayed and the bones were able to move inside of the wrappings.
Wow. I mean, if you even just like looking at the coffin or the sarcophagus itself, you can see where it was carved. You can see like carving lines in the wood. And see the way that it was all put together with these, what are those?
Mortise and tenon?
Yeah. This video is probably already 5 hours long, but, oh wait, look. Okay, so Mark, turn on lights to see the x-ray of the mummy. So this is the x-ray of the mummy that we just looked at. So he has his one arm down, one arm going across his chest,
Wow.
we think.
This was his shoulder, so
Oh, it was dislocated, so it was probably moved over, yeah.
this whole hip looks like it's kind of...
I mean, it looks pretty good for 3,000 years old,
Right.
honestly. But this video is going to be long, but I just want to show you everything that I possibly can. I'm not going to be able to show you everything in this museum, but we are going to go outside. There's more displays outside. We'll peek in to where we were just at, and we'll take a look at the cars outside. Okay, so I guess our mummy friend is Ta'an. Okay, Ta'an is the mummy that's at Earlham College. Now we are going to go there the next time we come to Richmond, and we'll go and visit that. We'll go and visit that mummy. They're always updating and changing out their displays. So that's a good sign of a good museum, that they're constantly updating their.
Remember we saw those bricks at?
We saw those at the Rose Garden. Yeah. There's another dollhouse, but down in here are all these cars. Now there is a Model T museum that we are, like I said earlier, we're going to visit that museum the next time that we come down to Wayne County. There's more things that we want to see, but you can see some of the cars that they have on display. $8 gets you. Oh, Mark, look, we can drive the national road. Okay, let's go for a drive. Okay, I'm just going to show you this. I'm not going to get into too much detail because we want to do a little bit more research on the national road, but they have this great exhibit here. I'm probably going to end vlogging here at the museum just because I want to be able, Mark's looking at all the license plates because he's a license plate collector, but I want to show you our dinner that we're having tonight, and I know that this is going to be quite a long video, so Mark and I are going to explore a little bit on our own. If I see something that I think that you have to see, then I'll pop in, but I'm going to save the National Road stuff because we're wanting to do a little bit more research on that and maybe do it in another video. We are back in Centerville. We just left the museum. I became best friends with the museum director. We've become best friends in like 10 minutes, haven't we, Mark?
Yes.
Her and I. So, but we went back to Centerville, which is just down the road, to Wheeler's Antiques. Now, Wheeler's Antiques have been open since 1970, and they are Wayne County's oldest antique store. So we've got to go in there. Wow. We've got a big propeller up there. This is amazing. Now I do believe, I don't know for sure, but I don't know that this is an antique mall. I'm trying to see if I can find a tag to see if something has booth on it. Yeah, maybe there are consigners that are in here, but. Hi, baby. Look at this little girl here. I love little dolls. She's $6.50. I am going to get her. I love her. She's all fully jointed and strong. She could possibly be German. I am definitely gonna get her. I love these little tiny treasure babies. But if you like the antique store shop-alongs and shop with me's, make sure that you're subscribed to my main channel, Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter, and that channel is filled tons and tons and tons of shopping videos on that channel. So make sure that you're subscribed to that other channel as well. All right, we are now walking to dinner because where we stayed, it's just right there where the black awnings are, the lofts on Main, and then just, what would you say, about 4 blocks?
Yeah.
Down is
Just
They're-
don't mind the.
What is the name of the restaurant that we're eating?
Number 9?
Oh, we're eating at the Number 9 Grill here in Cambridge City. And several people that I've talked to have been here before, said it is excellent. So we are going to give it a try. Depending on how we feel after we eat, we may go to a brand new winery that just opened up here in Wayne County. It's going to kind of depend on the weather. We're a little worried that we probably should have grabbed an umbrella, but we didn't. We didn't grab it. We're going to risk it. We're going to be risk takers.
Yeah, don't mind the huge black cloud behind us.
Yeah, don't mind those huge black clouds behind us, but the radar isn't saying, it doesn't look like it's supposed to do anything. So hopefully we can come in here and eat, and then maybe go check out the winery and just have a little something on our last night here. And it's supposed to be a brand new winery, have a little cocktail, and then tomorrow I'm going to be filming content for Thrift or Junker Vintage Hunter. So it's going to be all, I hear horses.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I hear horses, I close my eyes, pretend I'm in Mackinac Island. But I'm not, I'm in Cambridge City.
And don't close your eyes, you're walking.
And I won't close my eyes as I'm walking. So tomorrow we're going to be filming content for Thrift or Junker Vintage Hunter, going into some antique stores. Probably going to check out some of the ones here in Cambridge City. There are, how many of them?
About a dozen, probably.
About a dozen. Some of them aren't open on Sundays, so we won't be able to go into all of them. Some of them have more primitives, so I may not be in there real long because I'm not really a primitives
found
girl.
some things at primitives because
Sometimes you can. Sometimes if you go into places that sell a lot of primitives, you can get, like I like Kitchen Mid-Century, you can find a lot of those things in there because that's not really their jam. Same thing with me. If I had a shop, which I did, I priced my primitives pretty reasonably because they weren't my thing. So we're gonna pop in there tomorrow and see. So, all right, Number 9 Grill is coming up, and when we get inside, I'll show you a little bit of the restaurant and the menu and what we're gonna have to eat. Okay, we've arrived from our walk to the Number 9 Grill. Not quite sure what the history is of the building. I just saw this and it kind of reminded me of a firehouse thing, but Number 9 Grill. All right, so we are in. There is a lot of people here waiting. We're sitting in the bar area. They have a full bar menu. Mark got a salad. I got a Caesar salad, and then we're gonna wait on our entrees. So Mark got the 6-ounce sirloin and a baked potato, and I got a black and blue burger. I took the tomato off. I like tomatoes, but I don't like them on hamburgers. Don't ask me why, I don't know, but I just don't. So looks very, very good. So we're gonna eat our dinner. We're gonna go over to the winery, so that's gonna be the next stop. Well, we're back. The winery was closed. They closed at 6. So, and we tried to go to a sunflower farm, but they didn't have any sunflowers.
Well, it was a family farm.
It was a family farm.
That was supposed to have sunflowers.
Yeah, it's supposed to. It didn't. And it was closed as well. So we just decided to come back. Oh, there's a rainbow. Well, let me see if I can get the rainbow on film. Do you see it? The rainbow? Aw. It looks like it's a whole arch one too. I'm not walking back downstairs though, but it's beautiful. So pretty. But we're back at the Airbnb, and we had such a fun weekend. I want to thank Nancy from the Richmond and Wayne County Bureau of Tourism for inviting us to come and explore the county. We do plan on coming back probably, maybe, hopefully this fall, but there are a lot of things that we didn't have time to do. We try to get as many things in as we possibly could, but we're tired. We've done a lot. We've ate really, really good. And I just wanted you guys to go along with us. And if you want to have a little day trip or a weekend trip or a little getaway and you're wanting something fun and historic and culturally fun to do, then check out Richmond, Wayne County. Thank you guys again so much for watching these videos. Let me know in the comments if you like this sort of content. This is something that is just something that Mark and I are really, really wanting to do more often. We love doing these sorts of things and getting out there and exploring. So let us know in the comments. I know that the videos were a little long, but I just wanted to be able to show you so much and get everything in. So thank you again so much for watching. What was your favorite thing this weekend, do you think?
I really like the Levi
The Levi coffin.
Levi coffin.
That was amazing. That was amazing. I mean, the well was just stunning. And I didn't want to do the full tour because I really think that is something that is just required to see, especially if you're in driving
there's
distance.
so much that you didn't see.
Yeah, there's a lot that you didn't see.
It was an hour tour.
Yeah, it was a full hour tour. You do need to make you should call and make an appointment. You can come in, and when you walk in, they'll let you know when the tours are and how many slots are still available. But I would definitely call ahead of time and make an appointment for a tour. My favorite thing this whole weekend was probably the Jennett recording studio walk. I absolutely loved that so much. So I don't know. I love entertainment history, and that was just really cool to me. But again, thank you guys so much, and I hope that you enjoyed this trip along with us. And the wheels are already turning in our brain. I want to encourage you to get out into your own county as well and explore and see what your own county has to offer. We've already been talking about how we want to explore Lawrence County, Indiana, where we live, and just a little day trip or a little weekend trip away. And I think everybody should do that every once in a while. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Thanks again to Nancy and the Richmond Wayne County Bureau of Tourism for allowing us to come in and share all these experiences with you, and come and visit. All right, we will see you in the next one, guys. Bye. Do you love shopping? I love shopping, specifically for vintage and antiques. But sometimes it's hard to get out and about with our busy lives. But I tell you what, there is a new way to shop for vintage and antiques, and that is at virtualantiquemarketplace.com, otherwise known as VAMP. There are over 9,000 active listings by over 200 trusted, vetted sellers that is guaranteed to ship your items within 3 business days of your purchase. It's fast, it's fun, it's all curated true vintage and antiques over on Virtual Antique Marketplace. I am Misty, and I am one of the owners. We would love to have you come over, become a member. It's totally free, and jump into these live sales, static sales. Support small businesses over on virtualantiquemarketplace.com. Come on over and join in on the fun.